Hello and welcome. I'm the Big Shot Critic, and today it's my favorite movie, Casino Royale. Reviewing your favorite movie is like doing a high-level collegiate report on one of your heroes. Taking out that magnifying glass and looking closely enough to provide any insight comes with the risk of finding flaws that you didn't know were there. Flaws you would have been happy to remain ignorant of. Does the dialogue stand up? Does the story still hold if you start asking questions about it? Well, I have taken out the magnifying glass, and Casino Royale stands as tall as ever. The hero lives. Do you know that Casino Royale is the origin story of James Bond? Did you know that? Obviously all Bond fans know that, but it sort of goes unnoticed or not thought of because he gets his 00 status less than 5 minutes in, and the structure is very typical of a Bond movie. Bond fans, stick around. I've got to fill in the other viewers really quick. Casino Royale was the very first James Bond novel, and it was written by Ian Fleming in 1953. Famed Bond producer Albert R., or Cubby Broccoli, didn't get in the business of making Bond films until the 60s. As a result, by the time he bought the film rights to James Bond, somebody else had already snagged the rights to Casino Royale. Cubby Broccoli's Eon Productions didn't acquire the rights to Casino Royale until 1999. That is why James Bond's origin story wasn't told until 2006 in the 21st Bond film. After the title sequence, James is on his first assignment as 007. And while the action makes it very clear to the audience that he is strong, determined, and intelligent, he also mucks it up, barely salvaging any intel from his objective and severely embarrassing British Secret Service in the process. This gets him dressed down by M, who is once again played by Judi Dench, even though this is supposed to be the beginning of Bond, and she first appeared as M in 1995. Because to heck with continuity if you can have Judi Dench play M. Bond once again shows his determination and intelligence when he is put on leave, but uses his very limited intel and manages to blow the lid off a financial network supporting global terrorism. This puts the wicked financier Le Chiffre in a tight squeeze, and to win back the money he lost, he sets up a high-stakes poker game at the titular Casino Royale. The movie plays a clever trick here. It tricks you into thinking that the A story is Bond taking down Le Chiffre, and the B story is the romance between Bond and the Bond girl. It's easy to think that because that's how it is in pretty much every other Bond movie. But in reality, the A story is Bond becoming James Bond, with the Bond girl being a big part of that, and the B story is all the stuff with Le Chiffre and the money. The central question is, will Bond become James Bond? That's why the classic line, "The name's Bond, James Bond," doesn't come until just before the credits roll at the very end. That's your answer. He has become James Bond. Yes, the villain and his nefarious schemes are introduced very early on. We get the opening scene, the title sequence, and then we meet the villain. But that opening scene reveals something interesting about Bond.
How did he die? Your contact? Not well. Made you feel it, did he?
He's squeamish. Still capable and very dangerous, but not the cold-blooded assassin we're used to. And the title sequence drives this point home even further, with the Bond song called "You Know My Name," what I think is a reference to the classic line, Bond, James Bond. Everyone knows his name. The last two lines of the chorus are, "The coldest blood runs through my veins, you know my name." The opening scene says Bond is squeamish, and the title sequence says Bond, James Bond, is a cold-blooded killer. There's your central question before we even meet the villain. Bond is not there yet. Will he get there? Now, I mentioned earlier the scene where M dresses down Bond. This is pretty early in the movie, and it establishes very clearly what hurdles Bond has to overcome to become James Bond.
Any thug can kill. I want you to take your ego out of the equation and to judge the situation dispassionately. I have to know I can trust you and that you know who to trust. And since I don't know that, I need you out of my sight.
So there you have it. He needs to take his ego out of the equation and judge the situation dispassionately, and she needs to know that she can trust him and that he knows who to trust. And because she doesn't know that, she sends him away on leave. Also, she criticizes him for not seeing the bigger picture just a minute earlier in that scene. That's going to come up again. His ego is pointed out to him once again by Vesper, the Bond girl. He's reckless in front of her, and she calls him out on it. Then later, when Bond loses and needs to buy back in the poker game, Vesper denies him. It's her decision because she is there representing the Treasury. Even though he admits to making mistakes and being arrogant, she emphasizes that his ego is the problem.
You lost because of your ego, and that same ego can't take it. That's what this is about. All you're going to do now is lose more.
Because he can't buy back in, he's actually facing the consequences of his ego. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Hold on. It wasn't because of his ego that he lost, it was because he was betrayed. And you're right, he was betrayed, and that's what led to him losing the poker game. But he doesn't know that. As far as he knows, it really was his ego. So in his mind, he is facing the consequences of his ego. In his mind, he's still learning that lesson. Lucky for James, Felix Leiter is there to bail him out and buy him back in. But he learned his lesson. He took his ego out of the equation after that. One step closer to becoming James Bond. I told you that not seeing the bigger picture was going to come up again. After Bond wins and Le Chiffre is torturing him to get the money, Bond plays what he thinks is the high hand. Figuratively speaking. The poker game is over at this point. And tells Le Chiffre that he won't give him the money, which means Le Chiffre's clients will hunt him down and kill him. But Le Chiffre correctly reminds him that that is not the case.
But you were so wrong! Because even after I slaughtered you and your little girlfriend, your people would still welcome me with open arms. Because they need what I know. So the big picture.
And what does Bond say? The big picture. He's learning. M chastised him for not seeing the bigger picture earlier, and now, just like with his ego, he's seeing the consequences of that weakness. He understands. That's another step toward becoming James Bond. And now the big one, knowing who to trust. After Bond is sent on leave, he goes to the Bahamas to follow a lead. During his time there, he encounters 4 beautiful women. 2 of them give him the eye and make it clear they find him very attractive. He actually speaks to the next one, who is totally disarmed by him, and not only offers friendly advice, but also gives him the information he needs without a fuss. And the 4th one is seduced by him almost without effort, and likewise provides the information he needs to continue his investigation. The point is that beautiful women simply tumble before him. They are no match. So when he meets Vesper, and she's beautiful like the others, but challenges him at every turn, he's the one who is a little disarmed. This contrast is a little simplistic, but it's an effective way of showing the audience why this woman is different, and why Bond could fall in love with her. Which he does. This ties into another smaller bit of character development for James. When he meets Vesper and she says it wouldn't be a stretch to imagine that he views women as disposable pleasures rather than meaningful pursuits. At that point in the story she is absolutely correct, but of course he falls in love with Vesper, showing that he does come to view her as a meaningful pursuit. And how does James demonstrate that love? Well, in Shakespeare, true love is always indicated by sacrifice. And James sacrifices his career in British Secret Service to be with Vesper. He resigns. Stay with me. Remember we talked about Bond being squeamish, not cold-blooded yet? Well, when everyone is still at the casino, 2 of Le Chiffre's clients do come to get their money back, and James ends up killing them with Vesper present. She wasn't supposed to be in danger, but she sees the assassin side of Bond firsthand. She sees the brutality of that life. Right after that, we get a little scene showing that it does still affect James. He's not cold-blooded yet, even though at dinner with Vesper a night or 2 later, he denies it.
It doesn't bother you, killing those people?
I wouldn't be very good at my job if it did.
She tells him she doesn't believe him, and the conversation goes on from there, but let's fast forward to where he tells her that he will resign. Let's hear what he has to say.
You're serious?
Like you said, you do what I do for too long, and there won't be any soul left to salvage. I'm leaving with what little I have left.
His reason for resigning is because he has qualms about killing people. Because he's not cold-blooded. He's not James Bond yet. Well, he does resign, and they begin a life together. But then, in the culmination of all this characterization, Bond feels the heaviest consequence of all, the consequence of not knowing who to trust. He learns that Vesper betrayed him. Of course, he leaps into action to salvage what he can, but the damage is done and the lesson is learned. And is he squeamish anymore?
I kill!
Allow me.
Now that's cold-blooded. Whew! What a character arc. Now you see why the iconic line is saved until the very end of the movie. He has become James Bond. It's also worth noting that during that line and into the credits is the first time you hear the original James Bond theme.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Every other theme you hear in the soundtrack for what might be called Bond moments is derived from the Bond song, You Know My Name. And David Arnold's score is... Guys, I give Casino Royale 10 out of 10 commandments. It kept the 10th one. Be ye therefore perfect. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of my favorite movie, Casino Royale. Bye-bye.